Hello, Lens Legends, and welcome to another episode of the Portrait Profit Show, where we focus on the business side of photography. I'm your host, Jim Landers, your guide on the business side, and it's my mission to uplift portrait photographers to make a great income doing what they love. Each week on the Portrait Profit Show, you get tips and systems on the business side of photography designed to help you gain a mastery over marketing and sales, reducing the struggles that most photographers face so you can finally get what you deserve. This show is for photographers who feel they've got something to learn on the business side. So if that's you, you are in the right place. Welcome to the Portrait Profit Show. The Portrait Profit Show is brought to you by Digital Pro Lab and Landers Photography School. For Digital Pro Lab, Amanda and her amazing, wonderful team are going to make you look like a hero, because Amanda and Ray hire people who love photography, who are going to be career people, who are going to stick around and who love what they do. And the default, just by default of them doing what they love, is it makes you look like a hero. It makes your life easier. If you haven't printed yet, go to digitalprolab.com. If you're using some other printer, go to digitalprolab.com. And sponsored by Landers Photography School. That's me. I teach on the photography side and on the business side. Of course, the Portrait Profit Show is on the business side, and I've got a lot of classes on the business side, but it's both the photography side and the business side. Now, I have found a love for the business side, which is shocking, surprising, because, at first it was all about the creating and the art. But man, the business side has a lot of that in it. So I came to love the business side, and now I've got over 200 different classes that I've written. How many other photography schools can say they've written that many classes? Reach out to Jim at landersphotoschool.com. Jim at landersphotoschool.com. Now, I want to encourage you to make comments and ask questions throughout this lesson today. I want you to go to the comments right now and enter in hashtag live. That way I know you're watching live, on either Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn or YouTube. We're simulcast to 8 different places. By the way, if you're watching this as the replay, please comment hashtag replay. I also request that you share the Portrait Profit Show. Don't keep this to yourself. Uplift others. That's what's going on here is we are uplifting photographers. And so you have to pay to play. And the way you pay is by sharing the Portrait Profit Show. So if you haven't shared the Portrait Profit Show yet, here's your invitation to do so. Well, today we are talking about a last minute review of your 2025 plan. You may think that it's a little too late to be starting that plan, and you might be right. But then again, you might have that attitude of it's never too late, no matter what. I want you to stop what you're doing right now. I see you multitasking. I want you to focus because what I'm about to share could be the difference between another year of maybe next time and your absolute best year ever. I want you to picture this. It's the end of next year. And you're looking back at the most extraordinary year you've ever had. Your calendar was filled with dream clients, you know, the ones who not only love you and value your work, but the ones who are also happy to pay your prices. And while you were fully booked, it was never overwhelming. It was always just right. Oh, and your bank account? Ah. Well, let's just say it looks as gorgeous as you do on your best day ever. This isn't one of those someday dreams we all have. This is your future reality, and it's ah, so much closer than you think. You see, while other portrait photographers are still throwing spaghetti at the wall and hoping something sticks, you're about to become the chef of your own success story. Because here's what no one tells you: success in low volume portrait photography isn't about luck, nor is it about working yourself to exhaustion. I see you. It's about having a plan, but not just any plan, not a partial plan, not some ideas roaming around that beautiful creative mind, but a strategic, intentional roadmap that turns your passion into profit. Because while you hope for better days, hope is not a business strategy, but planning, mm, that's your secret weapon. And today, right here, right now, you and I are creating your gorgeous plan for 2025. I want to see who's ready to turn maybe someday into making it happen. If that's you, if you want to make 2025 fantastic, amazing, gorgeous year, I want you to write 2 letters in the comments. Me, me, me. Write me in the comments. Right now is your turning point. This is where everything changes. This is where you stop doing good things and keep you mired that keep you mired in struggle, and instead the right steps become clear. And you're on the road that leads to on the road that leads to the freedom you got into this business for to begin with. And if you're thinking, but isn't it too late to plan for 2025? Let me stop you right there. Sure, the best time to plan was before now. But the second best time, you know, it's right now. And I promise you, by the end of this lesson today, You'll have more clarity, confidence, and concrete steps than you've had all year. If you would like today's handout, let me put that up on the screen. And there it is. If you would like today's handout, there's the URL for it. And I'll also put the QR code up for it up in the top right of your screen. So that way, if you put your camera in or put your phone in the camera app, and it will take you to today's handout. All of the handouts for every single episode of this show are going to be valuable. A lot more valuable than the $10 I asked for, that's for sure. So take advantage of that. Now, of course, you're not going to receive that while I'm in doing the live show, because I do each one of them manually. So you'll get it immediately following. That way you can take notes right now. So when you're not driving, and then you'll get the handout to back things up. So I'll take that off the screen and move into the lesson. Chapter 1, the foundation, your freedom blueprint. You know what? Let's get real for a moment. You know what I see happening with hardworking, wonderful photographers all the time? And don't think this doesn't apply to you. I see talented photographers spinning their wheels, working hard, doing all kinds of good things, but never getting ahead. Instead, it seems that no matter what amount of effort, that there is little, if any, progress. Understand this. Photography is a tool to get what you want. If the tool isn't working, if it's not causing you to get what you want, don't blame the tool. Guys, it's all you. And that's a good thing, because it means you've got control and you can control this tool to get what it is that you want. I mean, it'd be like a carpenter saying, I don't use hammers because hammers go through sheetrock, go through the wall. That's not the tool's fault. That's the user's fault. It's kind of like photographers who choose not to learn how to use a flash because it's too harsh. What? That's no different than a carpenter saying, I don't use a hammer because it goes through the wall. It has nothing to do with the hammer. It has nothing to do with the flash. If the flash is too hard, the user of the tool is the one who made the mistake. If your business isn't taking you to where you want to go, it's you. That's great, though, because that means you're in control. It means you can make some changes. I don't want struggle for you. Heck, you don't want struggle for you. So today we're creating your freedom blueprint, and it starts with 4 non-negotiable elements that will transform your business from exhausting to exciting. The first is to define your core photography focus. What type of portrait work truly lights you up? And don't say everything. That's the most common answer I receive. You can't say everything. You can't do everything. At least you can't market everything, because your marketing budget isn't that big. The truth is, your marketing budget isn't even big enough for just one. So why are you spreading yourself thin? It doesn't mean you can't have those clients and them ask you to do other things, and then you do them. You can do that. But as far as your marketing, narrow it down. Then build those relationships so you can do all the other things that you want to do. Second, what price point is going to support your realistic ideal lifestyle? Not just covering your expenses. This is a business. It would be like going to a job and not losing any money, but not coming home with a paycheck either. That doesn't sound very smart to me. Yet, 85% of all photographers aren't bringing home a paycheck. They may not be losing any money, but they're not bringing home a paycheck. They'd be making more flipping burgers. I'm not encouraging you to get a job flipping burgers. I'm saying you are so close to doing what you're currently doing with a few tweaks that once you do them and you look back at them, you are going to be so amazed. I also want you to define what unique value you bring that others don't, because this is what's going to cause you to stand apart from the crowd. And you do have to make steps to stand apart from the crowd, and you know it. Here's the action step. Write down those answers. Not what you think they should be, but what you truly want them to be. This realistic, idealistic version. The second of the non-negotiables is to create your profit plan. You do that by setting your annual income goal. Now, if we were doing long-term planning in this episode, I would talk about more than 1 year. But this particular episode of the Portrait Profit Show is about 2025. So set your annual income goal for 2025. By the way, if that number doesn't make you at least a little bit uncomfortable, it isn't the right number. The second part of creating your portrait plan is break it down by quarter or monthly. Based on the type of work that you do, you'll know which is the more ideal. And if you're not sure, then break it down monthly. But the reason you're doing that is so that you can break this down into bite-sized pieces, but also because there are seasonal fluctuations in photography. Third is to calculate your required average sale. This number usually makes photographers nervous at first, but I want you to know that's a good thing. Now, we're going to talk more in depth about this in chapter 2. So let me get to a couple other things, and I'll revisit this and give you some more information on what it is you're doing, why you're doing it, and how to do it. The third of the non-negotiables, design your dream client profile. Who are they? And while you're defining who they are, take a moment to also consider who they aren't. Who is it that's draining your energy? That way, you're increasing the odds of not crossing paths with them. What do they value most? It isn't your fancy camera. It's not the tools that you use. It's about the memories, the emotions, and the legacy. Now, if we were talking about some other type of photography, those would be different. But we're talking about low volume portrait photography. What experiences do they appreciate or even cherish? This knowledge shapes how you serve them. Then answer the question, where do they spend their time? Where do they hang out? And where do they spend their discretionary income? This is both online and offline in the real world. IRL, in real life. The next is what aspirations drive their lifestyle choices. When you answer those questions, you have a great idea, a great clear mental picture of who your ideal client is. Once you do that, number 4, build your service framework. What specifically are you offering? No more letting clients dictate everything. It doesn't work when the inmates run the asylum. When you do everything, then you have just put yourself in the crowd. The crowd that you say, how do I stand out from it? Well, you don't do it by doing what everybody else is doing, which is everything. I'll press the button in front of anything. That does not cause you to stand out. It causes you to become part of the crowd. Next, I want you to do in building your service framework is how will you deliver your product, your offer? This is so that you can build systems. Systems are going to save your sanity. And I know you need that. I want you to define what makes your offer so special. If you were a chef, this is your secret sauce. I want to make sure that you're not thinking that everything I'm talking about revolves around making more money. That's a side effect of it. That's just what happens when you do this right. You're not forcing it. If you're forcing it, you're probably doing it wrong. I don't know your specific situation, but bringing more money in is generally a side effect of doing the steps correctly. What I'm trying to convey, though, is that this is about creating a business that serves your life, not the other way around. It has to serve your life. It's a tool to get your ideal life. Each of these four elements of your freedom blueprint are non negotiable. They work together. They work together to give you more freedom, more joy, and yes, more profit. All so you can reach your realistic, idealistic life goals. If you think, if you feel like you could benefit by doing any of these suggestions that I've given you so far in the Freedom Blueprint, will you do me a favor and just write Freedom or Blueprint or Freedom Blueprint in the comments? Because that will help me know that you've been paying attention to this first chapter. Freedom, Freedom Blueprint. If you feel you need additional guidance, I'm sure you know this, but just in case, I offer private business coaching sessions, helping you implement these strategies for your unique business needs. That way, together, we'll create customized solutions. Just reach out to me, Jim at landersphotoschool.com. Jim at landersphotoschool.com. And make sure to click the like button when you hear something you like, or the love button. I can see many of you have done that already. By the way, if you haven't already, comment hashtag live. Hashtag live. That tells me that you're watching live right now. That's that. Make a quick, there we go. Chapter 2. This is the money talk because neither passion nor exposure pays the bills. Do you know this? Yet some of you don't know it by your actions, you only know it mentally. While passion is essential and exposure can be beneficial, neither are fund your retirement. Let's break down your annual income goal into bite-sized, achievable chunks that won't give you financial indigestion. Here's what some might call the first of three parts. One, your annual income target, the big, bold number that allows you to reach your personal or family or both goals. Number two, your target number of sessions. Ideally, how many sessions do you want to do? Not what are you capable of, doing so many that you're pulling your hair out. No, what's a comfortable number? Something that keeps you happy, keeps you energized, does not drain you of your wonderful creative energy. What is the target number of sessions? By the way, for a lot of low volume photographers, it's one a week. Some it's less, some it's more, but it's a low number. Number three, your average price point. This is the sweet spot. This is what you are going to make efforts to make sure everyone gets to, the average point. Let's break this down further. Number one, your annual income goal isn't just some random number that you pulled out of your head. It needs to cover what needs to land in your personal bank account each month. Think about your mortgage, your rent, your groceries, your car payment, your utilities, health insurance, kids' activities, retirement savings, that vacation you've been dreaming about. If you're doing it by the month, then multiply it by 12. There are some annual expenses that just happen once a year. Make sure you're including those. That way you have an actual number that you need as your personal base. And again, make sure it includes the extras that you want in your life. Now, let's add the business side. Expenses are going to be for most of us between 20 and 100% of what you're bringing in. Expenses can account for a large amount of what you are doing. So if you bring in 120,000, maybe $40,000 of it is going to expenses. Now, that might be a little bit high for many, so therefore you are considering what it is that you do and using those numbers that make sense. Now, I help with this on a personal level, but when I'm generalizing, I've just got to give these percentages. But you're thinking about business expenses such as software, marketing, equipment maintenance. When's the last time you cleaned your camera? Professional development, and those unexpected costs that pop up. I mean, do you really want to have a full schedule when your camera breaks down and you don't have a backup? Of course, we have to add for taxes. I'd say add 30%. Your tax bracket's going to define that. But 30% is an amount that's going to cover most. This number, when you add it up, is your real target number, not just the amount you need to bring home to your bank account. It includes expenses, it includes taxes. For example, let's say you need to bring home $80,000 for your personal life. That means your business must generate a minimum of $120,000 to cover everything. That's a minimum. That number could be double or even triple, depends on where you are in your process and what it is you're trying to accomplish. But if your goal is to bring home 80,000, then you must generate a minimum of 120 to cover everything. Now, I'm hoping that number doesn't scare you because you can do this. And if you don't feel like you can, what am I here for? Reach out to me. I can help you make that happen. It does take your work, your effort, but I can help. Let's talk more about that second part, the number of sessions. Look at how many clients you ideally want to serve while maintaining quality and personal sanity. Consider your peak seasons. Consider your personal life, your weekly limits. A low volume, high value business might handle only 20 to 50 sessions per year. That's it. There are some that do fewer, there are many that do more, but it's not unusual that an average of one a week is what the low volume photographer does. Now, if you're doing it full time, you may want to do more than that. It depends on your situation, and I can help with that. Understand this isn't about picking numbers. Think about your creative energy levels. Each session requires preparation, the photography time, post processing, client communication, and possibly in person sales meetings, which I recommend, but not for everybody because it's just a tool to help you get what you want. How many sessions can you handle per week while maintaining the level of excellence that you are claiming to give your clients? Remember, we are building a sustainable business. Let's plan things that avoid burnout. If you are experiencing burnout, it is an indication of planning that needs some tweaking, at least. Factor in your personal commitments, family time, those uh, peak seasons like in the fall. Consider your workflow. How long does it take each session from the first inquiry to the final deliverables, whatever that means to you? For me, a family portrait is an average of 21 hours. Family portrait, 21 hours. That's from everything. That's the phone calls back and forth, the emails back and forth. That's travel time, which usually is in the neighborhood of 4 to 8 hours total travel time. That's the photography session itself. That's the post-production process that you go through. That's the sharing of your images, which I do in person. That's the processing the images, fine-tuning them, sending them to the lab, getting them framed, and I go back to their home and install. So therefore, 21 hours is my average for a family portrait session. If you haven't done this next thing already, just put this on your to-do list to do today. Map out your ideal portrait session. What is it that you do? What are all the steps? The next action step I want you to do is to map out your ideal week. How many sessions can you comfortably handle while delivering the exceptional service that you claim? Multiply that number by the number of weeks that you want to work, accounting for holidays, personal time, slow seasons. That way you can get a relatively accurate number of how many sessions you're going to do in a year. And then number 3 of this profit pyramid is the per session revenue, your average sale. So divide your annual goal by your annual number of sessions. So if your goal is, say, $120,000, the number we mentioned before, and you're going to plan to do 50 sessions, that means that each one of those 50 sessions needs to generate an average of $2,400, which is the average for a family portrait session for a full-time photographer. But there are all different types of photographers. Just like restaurants, photographers come in different levels, and all of those levels are good. The McDonald's level, the Chili's level, the steakhouse level, all are good. All are needed. So if you're going to do 50 sessions at 2,400, you're definitely Chili's level or better. You're if you want to do if you want to have a lower average sale, then you're going to have to increase the number of sessions that you do. You're going to have to increase your stress unless you figure out a way to love that kind of thing. But I like giving my clients a lot of time. I enjoy spending time with them. And I know all of you say you do. But here is where the numbers prove your thoughts or disprove them. This number that you're figuring out your average sale, this is your total revenue per client. Notice I said generate. You need to generate an average of $2,400 per sale. I didn't say charge $2,400. Not all business models charge a session fee. But if you do your session, your session is likely much lower than your average sale. But your packages, products, and add-ons need to bring the average sale up to that target average. So if you're thinking this number seems high compared to what you're currently charging or to what you think the average of general photographers in your area are charging, first, who cares what other photographers charge? If you're paying attention to that number, you are doing it wrong. Your prices have nothing to do with what other people charge. It would be like exiting because a car you liked exited when you're driving on the highway. That's no reason to exit. You're not just selling photographs and time, you're selling expertise, artistry, the entire creative process, and lasting memories. I do want you to think about your market position because are you trying to be the McDonald's of photography or the steakhouse? There is nothing wrong with either, but you need to be clear about where you fit. Your pricing tells clients what kind of experience to expect. Here's an action step. I want you to look at your current pricing. How many additional products or services would a client need to purchase to reach your target average. If that seems unrealistic, that number, you might need to adjust either your income goal or your number of sessions. But no matter what, the math has to work. Remember, if your prices don't make your heart skip a beat, they're likely too low. Unless we're a nonprofit 501c3. Because unless you're that nonprofit, you're not running a charity. You're building a family legacy. Do you see what it is I'm talking about? Does this resonate with you? Does this make sense to you? What's one thing that we've talked about so far that you want to do, that you want to implement? Drop your thoughts in the comments and let's learn from each other's experiences. Or if you just want to write something simple, if this is just resonating with you today, then just write the word yes. Yes. And if you haven't already, enter in hashtag live. Now, I want to remind you, just in case you're just joining us, if you want the handout, there is the URL for the handout and the QR code's up in the top right there. Just use your phone with the camera app, and it'll take you right to the handout or the steps to get the handout. So that's where that is. Chapter 3. Now that you know your income goals and how many sessions that you need, let's turn these plans into a structured, actionable timeline. I'm going to show you how to visualize your year to ensure nothing falls through the cracks, or at least that's the intention with the limited time that we have. I want you to use tools to help you with this. It could be as simple as a large dry or wet eraser calendar. And I'd say get the big one, the 3 foot by 4 foot one. A large dry slash wet erase calendar, meaning you can use dry erase markers on it or wet erase markers on it. It just has a lamination layer on it. That's what makes that possible. And a web tool called Plan Disc, PLANDISC, Plan Disc. First, Plan Disc. It's a great web tool that displays your calendar, but it does it in a circle because it makes it crystal clear how our business naturally flows in cycles. You'll instantly see your peak seasons, your quiet times, your recurring opportunities. And when you pair this with that large wet erase or dry erase calendar, by the way, the one I recommend has the brand name is At a Glance, At a Glance. When you have that in your workspace for daily visibility and easy adjustments, because nothing's set in stone, we make changes, then things get so much easier. So much easier. I want you to start off with personal time blocking. Here's where most photographers get it backwards. They schedule their business first and try to fit life around it. I recommend the opposite. We're doing the opposite today. Start by blocking out everything personal. That's vacations, family time, date nights, medical appointments, self-care time, everything that makes your life worth living. These aren't time off blocks. These are your non-negotiable quality of life commitments. And they come first before the tool that allows them to happen, which is your business. I also want to talk about business time mapping. Because now, after you've blocked off your personal stuff, we're going to layer in your business stuff. Map out your session blocks, marketing campaigns, delivery deadlines. Remember those 50 sessions that I mentioned earlier? Let's distribute them strategically across your year just to get an idea of when they'll be. You have an idea. And counting for your peak seasons, your quiet times. Block out time for everything from initial client contact through final delivery and installation if you do that, and the follow up that you do. You heard me earlier with an action step that said define all of the steps that you go through with a client. These take up time. It makes it easy to put on a calendar. Here's the action step for this one. Take 5 minutes as soon as we're done with this show today and list out every personal commitment that you can think of for 2025. And then grab your calendar. Might have to order it, may have to go to one of the office supply stores, but grab your calendar and start blocking off time. Personal first, business second. This isn't just business planning, this is lifestyle design. Here's a pro tip, something I recommend to all my clients, all my students, all my photographers that I work with. Create a process manual for every major activity in your business: the session workflow, your marketing campaigns, client communications, etc. This does three things. It makes your planning more accurate, it highlights areas for improvement, and it sets you up for automation as you grow. You have to head towards automation. There are too many variables if you don't. And others are going to do it, and they are going to beat you in business. They're going to get there first. Remember, your calendar isn't just about managing time, it's about protecting your energy and maximizing your profit potential. When you map it right, you'll find that you can make more while working less. And isn't that what you want? You say it is. Here's the steps to get there. You might have to review this. Maybe you need to get the handout for today to help you, or my private coaching sessions can help. I want you to share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts and ideas that are helping you to reach your goals. Chapter 4. Your dynamic success map. The true power of planning lies in its flexibility, creating a framework that helps you navigate challenges and identify and act on unexpected opportunities. So when I talk about planning, rules, frameworks, processes, etc., I'm not talking about rigid rules. It's about smart preparation and confident adaptation. I want you to think about this. You've scheduled an outdoor portrait session, and the weather suddenly shifts. Panicking isn't the right reaction. Your reaction is, I have a backup plan. You've planned a backup. Maybe it's an indoor location that you have ready to go, just in case. Or maybe you know a covered outdoor spot that will work well. The same goes for your business strategies. Let's say you've planned a special project portrait event, only to discover that it conflicts with a major community event. Rather than seeing that as a setback, maybe you can find a creative way to adjust your timing or possibly create a special offer that complements that event. This is what I mean by flexible planning. Be mentally prepared to adapt and to improve. We also need to talk about tracking. So, tracking your results is what makes this flexibility so powerful. Keep records of what works, keep records of what doesn't work also. Which marketing approaches brought in your ideal clients? Which pricing strategies resulted in the best sales? Understanding these patterns helps you make smart adjustments. Track the things that matter: the bookings, your sales, client feedback, challenging situations that taught you something valuable. Use whatever systems work for you, whether it's a detailed spreadsheet, a simple notebook, CRM, client management resource, or client resource management and program. Use whatever system works for you. Success comes from having the tools and confidence to turn those obstacles into opportunities. Your plan is just your guide, it's not a dictator. This plan, it's how you'll make 2025 extraordinary because you're creating a solid plan and then you're having the wisdom to adjust it as needed because you don't always see great opportunities ahead of time. Sometimes they just kind of slap you in the face and you have to react to them now. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. What's something that you've experienced, or what's one step that you're going to take that aligns your photography business with your broader life goals? A change in your business model, a new project, a shift in how you manage your time? Share your thoughts in the comments. Let's inspire each other with ways that we can align our professional actions with our life's vision. Or just say, this is good stuff in the comments. Let me know what you're thinking. That's what the comments are for. And if you haven't already, enter in hashtag live, letting me know that you're watching here right now, live. Chapter 5, the final chapter. Scheduling planning time. Now, I talked about putting your schedule together, but we actually need time for this because one of the most important steps in crafting a successful year is allocating dedicated time for planning. Now, you may think, well, I'll just do that when I have extra time. When is it that you have extra time? It's when you plan for it. This ensures your vision takes shape and your aspirations turn into tangible goals. You know what? By the end of the second quarter of each year, maybe in the month of May or June, I want you to set the stage for the upcoming year. Put it on your calendar. When are you going to begin doing this? This is the time to brainstorm what you need for the next year, what you want it to look like, what tweaks you want to make to what you're currently doing so that next year's even better. This is the perfect time to sketch out your thoughts and create a visual representation of your year with all the milestones, the important dates, the key activities, the projects, and other considerations. Think of this as the prelude to planning, where your ideas start to take form. By the time September of each year rolls around, it's time to finalize next year's plans. This is the culmination of months of thoughtful reflection and strategic thinking. In September, refine your strategies. Take a close look at what you've outlined in your plan and ensure it aligns with your core business statements. And if you've watched this show for any period of time, you know I'm talking about the 5 workspace statements: mission, value, vision, target market, your positioning statement, how you define you, how you relate to the environment. Those should be in your environment where you can see them. I also recommend that you put a timeline, a physical timeline. Maybe it's a string with little post-it notes connected to it with all the things that you're working towards. Don't take off the things that you've done. Those times when you're feeling a little low, look at the things you've done so you can see very clearly how far you've come. By the way, those 5 workspace statements, that's a minimum. There are between 14 and 18 essential statements that every business owner must know. 14 and 18. Most of them haven't even done a mission statement, and they're supposed to be between 14 and 18 statements. The reason why there's a range is because people want different things. So therefore, not everything applies to you. But on average, you need to define very clearly 14 to 18 statements. And yes, I can help you with that. That one is kind of time consuming for me to do, but it's something that I do for photographers. No later than October. Break your plans into detailed action steps. What specific actions do you need to take to achieve your goals? Assign deadlines, assign responsibilities, ensuring that everything is well organized and ready to implement. Create a clear timeline that spans the entire year. This can be done with a piece of string with your steps and your projects clipped on. Or one of the tools I mentioned earlier, the at a glance wet erase or dry erase calendar, and or the circular online calendar plan disc. Clearly define when each activity, project, or marketing campaign is going to occur. This timeline becomes your day to day guide, helping you stay on track throughout the year, helping next year become so much easier. And the next year after that, even easier. You may not be thinking about this. When do you think you should start planning for 2026, the year after next? The moment you begin to implement the 2025 plan. That's when you begin planning for 2026 because you're going to see things in your 2025 plan that could be tweaked, that could be better, but there's nothing you can do about it at that moment. But you can make it better for the year after. Yeah. You begin planning for the next year. So in this instance, we're moving into 2025. You begin planning 2026 the moment you start implementing 2025. Continuous improvement is going to just naturally occur when you do these things. As you notice areas where you can improve, tweak your plans now while it's fresh on your mind. That way, next year runs so much smoother. We're almost done. Just the closing thoughts left. Take a moment to put in the comments one takeaway from today's lesson, or you can just send a message of thanks. I I like that. I like both. By scheduling dedicated planning time and continuously refining your strategies, you are setting yourself up for success. So embrace the excitement of seeing your vision come to life, one well planned step at a time. So, Lens Legends, do you know what makes me most excited about sharing this planning strategy with you? It's knowing that you're about to transform your portrait business from getting by to thriving. Hey, you've got the talent. I can see you've got the passion too. And now you have the roadmap. This lesson is about creating a business that serves your life instead of consuming it. A business where you can confidently charge what you're worth, work with clients who value you, and still have time for the life you dreamed about when you started this entrepreneurial journey. We've broken down exactly what you need to do. Set real numbers that support your real life. Create a schedule that respects your time and energy. Build flexibility into your plan so you can seize on opportunities. Track what matters most so you can grow the things that work. and then scheduling planning time. Now it's your turn. Don't let this lesson be just another training you watched and then forgot. You don't need to wait for the perfect time because that is right now. It is the perfect time. I want you to take what resonated with you today and I want you to put it into action. Your talent deserves a solid business foundation, and you know it. Your clients deserve your best. I mean, you tell them that's what you're giving them, but if you've got no plan, guys, you're lying. Let's get real. Your best includes a plan, a solid plan. And you deserve a business that helps you thrive, to get what you want out of your life, your ideal life. So go now and make 2025 amazing. What are your thoughts? I hope you're excited. I hope you're encouraged because following these steps just puts you on the right path. Did you know the Portrait Profit Show is something that happens every Monday? So I want to tell you about the upcoming shows. In 1 week from today, it's the last portrait profits class of the year. The last one. Can you believe that? December 30th at noon. We're doing the photographer's task list for January 1st. And this is my 200th episode. Today was 199. But on Monday, December 30th, 1 week from today, my 200th episode of the Portrait Profit Show. As the clock strikes midnight and a new year begins, it brings with it the perfect opportunity for reflection, renewal, and a fresh start. It's just the right time to reset, reorganize, and set the tone for a productive and successful year ahead. And then on January 6th at noon, I think you're going to love this. The show is called The Donut Epiphany. What does a full bladder and Krispy Kreme have in common? Well, more than you think. And the answer might change your business forever. Hmm. A pit stop at Krispy Kreme turned into more than just a bathroom break. Discover how a simple stop unlocked an epiphany about client experiences and efficient workflows. Don't miss the donut epiphany. It's a story that starts with the need for a restroom, but ends with a blueprint for success. And then on January 13th, that's the second Monday of the month, we move the time to 6:30 in the evening and we'll do a panel discussion. Lens Legends, I want to thank you for joining me here today. If you found value in this lesson, please like, love, and share. And of course, join us next week at noon for the next Portrait Profit Show. In addition to making beautiful images, you're making an impact, touching lives in many ways, some you will never know. I hope today's lesson has given you new ideas and strategies to strengthen your business and your life. I want you to keep on letting that unique vision that you have shine through, making the world more beautiful one portrait at a time. Thank you for being here. And thank you for being such an incredible portrait photographer. For Landers Photography School and Digital Pro Lab, my name is Jim Landers, and I'm bringing you the weekly Portrait Profit Show. So until I see you next week, Lens Legends, keep thriving, keep growing, and keep making your long lasting mark in the world. I look forward to watching you grow. You guys rock. Bye for now.